I'm Gavin McLoughlin, I'm Newstalk's Deputy Business Editor, and this is my reaction to Budget 2020. If we start with what's going to happen for businesses in the event of a no-deal Brexit, there's going to be 110 million of funding at least made available. And that's not just going to be loans, it's going to be grants, and it's going to be the government actually taking shareholdings in some of our businesses. Now, why is that important? Well, it means that companies don't have to borrow. They can get money without having to add extra debt onto their balance sheet, and I think that's going to be really welcomed. The next thing that struck me is he's going to give 50 grand of tax relief to small independent bookies. Now, if you remember before, he hiked the betting duty on that sector. Basically 2% of every bet taken has to be handed over to the taxman, and that's caused real problems for bookmakers. So 50 grand relief, I think that'll be welcomed. It probably doesn't go far enough as far as they're concerned in undoing some of the damage we've seen, though we have heard reports of a lot of job losses in that sector. Another thing he's doing is he's clamping down on tax avoidance by big property investors. Now, this is very interesting because a few years back, the government introduced these ultra tax efficient structures. They were designed to encourage people to invest in property. I suppose that was a good thing given that, we've been in the midst of a housing crisis for quite some time. But now he's cracking down on them a bit. He feels these tax efficient structures maybe have proved a bit too efficient. Now, while I'm not in favour of tax avoidance, I just hope this doesn't mean that these investors start taking their money elsewhere, because we want them here. We want them investing their money in those houses and apartments that we sorely need. And the last thing I'm going to talk about is tourism. Now, last year, he hiked the VAT rate on the tourism industry from 9% to 13.5%, and the tourism operators weren't happy with that, to say the least. This year, he's not reversing the VAT hike, but he is saying he's going to put €40 million into tourism if there's a no deal. Now, the details of that were a bit sketchy. He was talking about maybe spending some of it on advertising. I think it's fair to say the tourism businesses in this country don't think this goes far enough. All in all, for businesses, I think it was a pretty good budget, but you just hope that if there's a hard Brexit, Pascal Donohue's done enough.